Yeah, Jackie, you like it? It is just so fluffy. Fully obsessed with this yarn, and I just need to use it. This is the fabric it's making, and I think it's gonna be perfect. So we have a bit of a problem. The entire pattern that I wrote for myself is wrong. So wish me luck, I guess. Okay, so today is November 16th, and I think I'm gonna get started on a project today that I'm actually really excited about. I am a knitter, and I've been thinking, what am I going to do as my next sweater project for myself? And we're like a week out from Thanksgiving, and I'm thinking, okay, I need to start looking into like a nice sweater, right? Like the sweater that you wear out to like a nice dinner during the holidays, your nice sweater that you can wear out. And I don't have one yet. I kind of wanted to see like what is going on in like the ready to wear world, because when you are like in it, like I am as a knitter, you get to the point of seeing like what's really, really trendy for people who knit their own clothes, but you don't necessarily see what's trendy in like the buy at a store clothing level. And I just wanted to see like what's going on there, like what kind of trends am I missing? And I found this sweater that I'm like 100% sure that I can make. So I was browsing on the Saks Fifth Avenue website, which is hilarious in and of itself because I am not a Saks girl. Like I can't afford anything from this website, but I did want to see like if I were to have a lot of money to splash out on a really expensive sweater, what would I buy? And I found this sweater from The Row. It is called their Roque funnel neck sweater, and it is $2,550. Which is a little bit out of my price range. I don't know about yours. And I'm looking at this sweater and I'm like, I can make this. This looks like a very simple sweater. It is made in 100% cashmere, which like would be really nice. I do not have 100% cashmere yarn to use, but I had recently knit a swatch for a different sweater in a very similar looking yarn. And I was like, this could absolutely work for that sweater. So Jack and I are going to try to reverse engineer this sweater. I have my gauge swatch. I'm going to do a whole lot of math, and I will see you when I have something else to share. I've just been sitting here with Jack, obviously, reading through the product listing to kind of get like a better idea of what math do I need to do to make this sweater. And I'm reading about the brand, and I feel like I knew this in the back of my head, but The Row is owned by Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen. Listen to what this says. This is the most like marketing thing I've ever read. Synonymous with impeccable minimalism and high quality tailoring. Oof. The Row came to life in 2006 under the helm of Ashley and Mary-Kate Olsen. The clean, wear forever shapes are crafted from refined fabrics, and the sleek, simplistic range of shoes and handbags can only be described as timeless, quiet luxury. I am someone who works in marketing. I would have written something exactly like that, but as someone who is not like a minimalist girly, I find it hilarious to call a $2,500 sweater timeless, quiet luxury. It's like, it's not a car. But things that I am noticing about this sweater are really, really long arms. That seems to be a thing with The Row in general right now. I was looking at other products of theirs. They all have really long arms. I'm probably not going to make my arms quite that long because that's not like functional for me in my day-to-day life, but we're looking at an oversized fit, longer than usual arms, a pretty wide, like I would call this like a cowl neck, not a funnel neck, a pretty wide cowl neck, and a somewhat cropped boxy shape. So I feel like this should be fairly easy to put together, but I will let you know. I feel like I should start off by saying that I'm just doing this for my own like education. This is for my own personal use. I'm not planning on giving away this sweater pattern, but I thought it would be interesting to just kind of work through the process of creating a sweater pattern just from an inspiration photo. I don't want Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen to come for me, so I'm not going to be selling this pattern or doing anything with it. It's just for me. So I was just in the living room trying to figure out the math portion of this sweater. The reason why I'm doing this instead of just like casting on is because I don't want to be ripping back on this sweater. The yarn that I'm knitting with it is pretty delicate. It doesn't unravel very easily, and I don't want to waste the yarn. And it just gives me a little bit of time to start getting things planned out. So here is what I'm thinking. I'm going to knit this from the bottom up, mostly to give myself more time to figure out how the front neckline is going to work instead of jumping straight in and having to figure that out immediately. I'm going to work from the bottom up. That'll give me a little bit of time to wrap my brain around the front neckline. I will knit it upwards and then separate the front and the back and knit the front panel and the back panel separately, flat back and forth, all the way up to the shoulders. I'll do a little bit of shoulder shaping so it falls off the shoulders nicely. And then I will have the sleeve opening where I can just pick up the stitches and knit those downwards, and then basically do the same thing for the big funnel neckline. It'll have a pretty wide open neck. I'll pick up all of those stitches, knit those in ribbing, and I think it should be good to go. So this is what I am thinking for the sweater. I wrote down the characteristics of what I wanted. This is the gauge from my gauge swatch. I'm going to be knitting the size, so like the circumference around the body, to be 44 inches because that should give me a fair amount of positive ease. And I drew these very basic diagrams of kind of what I'm thinking for how to size this. This is all like TBD. I have not started actually knitting this yet, but we will see how this goes. So it's been a while. It is December. Hello, Jackie. It's December, and basically we decorated for Christmas, and I was like, oh my God, I have Christmas presents that I'm supposed to knit. So I finished those up really quickly, and now it is December 11th. I have like 5 inches of the body done on this sweater. I don't think that I'm going to be able to finish it for Christmas realistically with like, you know, trying to finish work before the holidays. Hopefully I can finish it before New Year's because I have New Year's plans with my husband. Get down. We have New Year's plans, so my goal is to finish this sweater before New Year's, and we'll see how that's gonna go. So we have a bit of a problem. I have been knitting away on this. I have the body now to about 10 inches from the cast on edge, which is where I wanted to try it on and see if that's how cropped I would like it to be. And no, this looks way too short. And I basically like set myself on like a tailspin of the entire pattern that I wrote for myself is wrong. And to be fair, I was basing this off of looking at a picture. Like I have not seen the actual sweater that I'm trying to recreate and vibes. Like I looked at my pattern and I was like, that it just can't possibly be right. So I looked at my closet and found a sweater that is reasonably similar. This sweater is wider than I want this to be. I'm not re-knitting this whole section, so this is gonna be the width. But this sweater is wider. It has much narrower sleeves. It's a little longer, blah, blah, blah. But it gives me something to work off of how a sweater like this is supposed to look. So essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure out this sweater, because it's something that I have in real life, kind of eyeball what changes that I would like to make with how much shorter, I want the sleeves to be wider, stuff like that. The cowl neck on this is much more narrow. I want mine wider. You get the gist. But I'm going to measure this out and effectively rewrite my whole pattern without needing to redo this section. So wish me luck, I guess. So this is the sweater that I'm going to be trying to steal some of the measurements from. So this has a little bit too much positive ease for what I'm going for, which means it's like a little bit too big and the arms are a little bit too narrow and it's slightly too long. So this is just kind of giving me a reference point, right? So I'm going to measure this out, see where it's at, and see if my pattern's going to fit. Okay, so here's what I got from my existing sweater, and I have updated my goal measurements for my sweater to this. So now I need to update my pattern a little bit, make sure that this is actually going to work, and then we can continue. Don't mind this look, but I have some updates. So I've started the front neckline shaping, and I have it in my notes to decrease like 9 more stitches, which would put me like down on my shoulder. So I think I'm only gonna decrease like 4 more stitches, 4 or 5 more stitches, which will kind of line up here, which is where the sweater does. So I need to then adjust what I've written down for my pattern to the correct number of stitches for the neckline, which is also going to change what I wrote down for the back neckline because the shoulder sections need to match. But looking good so far. So I have obviously the front and back separated. It needs a good block, it's very lumpy, but it should hit right at like the hip crease. That's the idea. So I've got a little bit of a ways to go, but I think it's gonna work. Okay, so good morning. It is Sunday, December 18th today, and I made a ton of progress last night, but it was too dark to show you, so we're checking it now. So last night I was able to finish the back panel. I did a 3 needle bind off on both shoulders to attach them together, and then I picked up and started the ribbing for the neckline. Overall, the fit is doing what I want it to do, or what I've planned for it to do, but I am starting to have second thoughts about the fabric that this is creating. So I was like knitting the body, I thought it looked great. Now that I've started the neckline, I'm kind of feeling like it's a little too rustic, it's a little too rough and tumble. It's giving farmer, it's giving homemade. So I'm hoping that like really going for like the big collar is going to give it more like cozy luxury vibes, but right now I'm feeling a little bit rough around the edges with this neckline. So I need to sit here and knit this. It's, I don't know, 1.5 inches maybe that I did last night, and I need to get to at least like 7 inches, and then I'll try it on and see how that looks. But I will pop this on as is, obviously not exactly the right outfit, but it'll give you at least the idea of how this is going to fit. It does sit where it's supposed to. The edges of the neckline are kind of at that like shoulder bone. It drapes down the shoulder. I put some short rows in, but yeah, I've got a ways to go on the neckline ribbing here. I want to do like a minimum of 7 inches and see how that looks. It's supposed to be quite big and drapey, so we'll see, but it is fitting how it's meant to. I'm hoping that with a block, it'll loosen up a little bit. It's slightly tight. The fabric is a little bit stiff, so I'm hoping that with a block, it'll ease up slightly, but it is doing what it's supposed to do. This looks hilarious because the needles are kind of keeping the neckline up, but I think I need to add like another inch. I was looking like really closely at the product photos, and it looks like pretty much no matter how they have the like cowl neck draped, that the top like inch is folded under. So if I were to fold under like an inch here, it's just a little too short. So I think I need at least 1 more inch. It's currently 7 inches long. Actually, it's kind of cute as a turtleneck. Cute. Okay, I've got options, but I want to knit it a little bit longer. Hopefully when I block it, it will get a little bit more loose, a little more ease, and hopefully it will do what I want it to do. Looking good. This, I'm not knitting it any longer. Obviously I have done the cast off, and I think it looks cute as like a big chunky turtleneck, or you can do it like a cowl neck. You can flip it up and under the way they kind of have it. I'll have to work on blocking it to be a little bit looser. They have it kind of like this, tucked under and then like down. So one thing that I really don't love about drop shoulder sweaters is that sometimes they just the shoulder fit is kind of awkward, and that's usually when they are simplified to the point of not really having any shaping. So I've added short rows to both the front neckline, as well as adding basically like a cap sleeve to like ease that over the shoulder. But let me show you what I mean by that. So this is the front neckline. Obviously there's shaping for the front to make it, you know, a U shape for the front neckline. But what I did is like the shoulder starts here, and then I did short rows to make like this wedge from like here up, which brings this up the side of the shoulder a little bit. And then I knit basically a cap sleeve, and you can kind of see the short rows here a little bit. Hopefully that will block out. But this also just helps it to continue down the shoulder. So I have this whole thing going down the shoulder, and now I'm going to start knitting in the round to just knit the sleeve as usual. So around the time that I thought that I had messed up the pattern, and I did, and had to redo it, I also thought that I was going to run out of yarn, not the Nutiden Unspun yarn, but the Einband, whatever Lopi yarn that I'm holding it double with. So I went ahead and I ordered more of the yarn just to now be on the sleeves, and I'm definitely not going to run out. I definitely have enough from what I already had, but yeah, I'm not gonna run out of yarn. We leave for Christmas tomorrow, and I'm done. I can't believe that I finished it, but here we are. I'm going to get this in a tub to block. Hopefully it will dry before we leave, and yeah, I'm done. It's so cozy. I'm finished. So I set this out last night to wash and dry. I laid it flat to dry. It is 95% dry, the body and the sleeves are, but weirdly the neckline still has a little bit of moisture in it, but it's fine to show you. I kind of forgot that it can grow a lot when you block it, so it actually loosened up and lengthened the sleeves a little bit more than I expected it to, which is actually kind of good because it matches the pattern a little bit better. But I finished it, and I think it turned out basically exactly like how I wanted it to. It was a little bit of like a marathon push towards the end there, but I got it done. We leave tomorrow to go home for Christmas. We had to delay because of the weather. It is literally like negative 10 degrees outside right now. I would go outside and take like cute pictures in the snow, but I don't want to get frostbite, which is an actual possibility if I tried to do that. But I will try to take some like glamour shots inside the house so you can see how it fits. But this is the final sweater. I spent the last like 2 weeks basically really focusing on knitting this sweater. I knit the vast majority of it within the last 2 weeks, which is really fast for me. I watched like all of White Lotus season 1 and 2. Didn't love the first season. Second season was way better. I listened to like most of an audiobook. I watched a bunch of Christmas movies. I don't know exactly how much time I spent on this because I don't want to know. I like never track how much time I spend knitting things. And total with the yarn, not including the yarn that I bought that didn't end up in the sweater when I thought I was going to run out, it's about like $100 worth of materials based on that like $2,500 sweater. So I think I made out pretty well myself, and I'm excited to have this in my wardrobe. I know I was kind of making fun of their marketing, saying like it's a timeless piece that's quietly elegant or whatever they said, but I mean, I really do think this is kind of a timeless piece that I'm going to wear for years and years to come. So I'm really glad that I have it. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I will see you soon.